Here's the formula for success and the formula for failure. Here's the formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day. Why would we repeat an error in judgment another day? Here's why. Disaster doesn't usually fall on you at the end of that first day. If you suffer dire, disastrous consequences the first day of mistakes, see, we would quickly change. I mean, overnight, we'd be burning the midnight oil, how to avoid and change it all so that these disasters don't happen again. But failure is subtle. Failure just takes you down the road you really don't want to go, but it doesn't seem like the consequences are going to be severe at the end of the first day, at the end of the first week. But you can't let yourself get faked out. The guy says, I've been eating junk food for 30 days and look how healthy I am. See, he's faked out. He's misguided. He doesn't understand. You can't judge just after 30 days. I remember once I was talking to the kids about, judging whether something is, right or wrong, to do it or not to do it. And I had a candle, and I lit this candle, and I said to the kids, I've heard that if I put my finger in this flame, this fire of the candle, that it will burn my finger. And the kid said, yes, it will. If you put your finger in this flame from the candle, it will burn your finger. I said, well, I don't really know, but I'm willing to try it. So I stuck my finger in the candle flame like this, and I said, my finger appears to be okay. And I did it again, pulled it out, and I said, my finger appears to be okay. And they all said, no, Mr. Rhon, you can't judge whether or not the flame will burn your finger just by going like this. You've got to leave your finger in there just a little longer. I got the message. And they got the message. You can't eat junk food for a month and say, look how strong I am. Because already you have started down the wrong road, but at first the consequences aren't disastrous. Your whole life isn't upside down. You haven't ruined your whole life and you're going to have a heart attack at the end of 30 days, no. But subtly, month by month, and a little more experience eating junk food, and sure enough, now the consequences would start to show. So here's what wisdom is: trying to learn early the consequences of errors in judgment, poor behavior, poor language. And then try to learn from others that have gone down a disastrous road, and sure enough, they suffered the consequences, and you say, wow, then I'm going to change direction because I don't want those consequences. That's called being doubly smart. A few errors in judgment repeated. It's easy to repeat. But a few simple disciplines practiced every day, and you can turn anything around. Once you see that you're suffering either early consequences or severe consequences, all you have to do now is shut down that route, pick another destination and start going that way with some easy disciplines that day by day gather momentum, and now one success leads to another, leads to another. Here's what we call that: disciplines. Easy disciplines. And then remember this in your personal development quest: all disciplines affect each other. Every discipline affects the rest. Every lack of discipline affects the rest. Each new affects the rest. Each lack of discipline affects the rest. So starting on this journey of new disciplines, solving problems, going from errors in judgment to easy disciplines that can change it all. And if you start that journey, it doesn't take long for new signs of success to appear. The early success, the early signs of the fact that I was going to arrive at a more positive destination, I was hooked. It didn't take but a few months, less than a year, and I was hooked for life. I ask you to start that same journey. Let your new skills, new disciplines affect all of the rest and inspire you to never cease this quest for refinement of first philosophy, then activity, to make your life better. My father, 88 years old, he's never been ill, still hasn't retired. Not long ago, midnight, we're getting ready to go to bed. We've drilled a new well, got some extra water, got some more acres going, he's all excited. At midnight, we're getting ready to go to bed. My father's eating what he calls his midnight snack. A little bite to eat before you go to bed. Don't have to go to bed hungry. And I'm watching him eat this midnight snack. Guess what he had? An apple, a few graham crackers, and a glass of grapefruit juice. I said, no wonder my father's so healthy. My mom taught us all those good health practices. Taught me when I'm growing up, right? I'm an only child. I've never been ill. Passed the big 5-0 some time ago. My 2 daughters, 32, 33, never been ill. My grandkids, never been ill. I'm telling you, the legacy lingers on. As I watched my father have this midnight snack, suddenly occurred to me. I know that's part of it. An apple, what? A day. That's gotten to Dallas-Fort Worth, right? An apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Good question for this intelligent audience. What if that's true? You say, well, Mr. Rhon, if that's true, that would be easy to do. Then what's the problem? It's easy not to do. It's easy not to adopt it as your own personal philosophy. Or the guy messed up the saying. Guy says a Hershey bar a day. Say, no. No. You've been watching too much television. It is not Hershey bar. You got to be smarter in philosophy than to fall for the Hershey bar a day when it's an apple a day. You got to be smarter than that. And if you make that kind of an error in judgment every day for 6 years, I'm telling you, it'll accumulate into disaster. Sometimes the first year you say, well, you know, I'm so healthy now, what difference is it going to make? You got to be smarter than that. Just because disaster doesn't fall on us at the end of the first day doesn't mean disaster isn't coming. You got to be so smart that you look down the road and say, will the errors in my present judgment of philosophy, what's that going to cost me in 1 year, 6 years, 1 month, 6 months? I'm telling you the money cost and the health cost and the success cost is too gigantic if you look down the road a little ways and say, are there errors in my current judgment like an apple versus a Hershey bar? Is that just a good illustration of some of the rest of my errors in judgment? If it is, that's where I found myself at age 25. I started working when I was 19. I met my teacher who helped turn my life around when I was 25. That's 6 years. At the end of the first 6 years of my economic life, I've got pennies in my pocket. I've got nothing in the bank. The creditors are calling saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. I'm embarrassed. I'm behind on my promises. I live in America. I'm 25-year-old American male. I got a nice family, every reason to do well. And I'm messed up. Now, what's messed up? I used to think it was the community that was messed up, and the country was messed up, and the government was messed up. If those Democrats ever get in the White House, that'll really mess things up. If the Republicans stay in power, that'll really mess things up. The economy was messed up. Interest rates are messed up. I thought all this stuff was messed up. Then I found out that's not what was messed up. I was criticizing the only thing I had to work with. What was really messed up was my own personal philosophy. My own errors in judgment in my own personal philosophy brought me in 6 years to pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and trying to explain why I wasn't doing well, living in America, 25-year-old American male, got a family, every reason to do well. Now, once I understood this, here's the formula for failure: errors in judgment, being lax about developing your own personal philosophy. I'm telling you, it's called accumulated disaster.